Hello, everyone. Hope you are doing well. Let's start with our first story titled, My Wife Cheated on Me with Her Girlfriend and Her Husband. Last weekend, my wife, age 50, went out for drinks and dinner with her best friend. This was a planned dinner and not out of the ordinary. She looked amazing, all dressed up. She was going to take the night off from dialysis, which is a welcome treat for her. The plan was for her to go to dinner and then go back to her friend's house for a while and then come home. They went out to dinner, but it took longer than expected, which pushed back the time she was going to come home. I told her that maybe she should spend the night and I could bring her clothes or bring her home, and we could pick up the car the next day. She said she had some stuff in the car. I have clean gym clothes, which would work in a pinch. They took Uber into the city, had dinner and drinks, and took an Uber back to her friend's house. We stayed in communication all evening and she sent photos. We chatted and I told her goodnight and we said we loved each other. She did have a few drinks and I could tell she was a bit tipsy. She came home the next day in the afternoon, immediately came in, showered, and put the clothes in the washing machine. I found it a little unusual because I generally do the laundry and she didn't wash anything else. She said she spilled something on my shirt and she wanted to clean it so I wouldn't be mad. After the shower, she went down and pretty much slept until 8 in the evening. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. She is always tired and not doing a treatment compounds her tiredness. The next day, she said that we needed to talk. She started crying and told me that her night out didn't go as planned. She said that once they got back to her girlfriend's house, they had some more drinks and did some substances, which I thought was weed. It turns out I was way off. She said that they did smoke some weed, had some coke, and maybe ecstasy. I was floored when she said coke and ecstasy. Until recently, she never smoked or did edibles. I assumed she was crying because of the drugs. She continued to say that her friend and her were dancing and listening to music. She said that when everything kicked in, she was having a really good time. She said that they started talking about husbands and sex and things they wanted to experience. She said that they were just goofing around and her friend kissed her. Never in a million years would I have expected her to kiss another woman. She had another friend that wanted to have a three-way with my wife and me. My wife said she would never be with another woman with or without me. I was okay. It didn't bother me and I actually had a little smile. She said it gets worse. She said that she was turned on by the kissing and touching. She said that things went further. Now she had me curious. I was more mad that she did drugs just because she is on dialysis. She said that things moved in the bedroom and that her friend's husband was there watching the whole thing unfold. Once they moved into the bedroom, the husband went from a viewer to a participant. She said that the husband was focused on his wife, but then the wife started to put the husband's hand on my wife. My wife said that she pushed his hand away, but her friend was persistent. I asked why she didn't stop and call me. She said that she felt like she was watching someone else's life unfold. She said she felt fairly helpless. She said that her friend and her husband started kissing her and touching her, and it felt amazing, like fireworks going off inside her. We have been together and the only partners for 28 years. She basically admitted to having sex with her friend and the husband. She said that they would stop and cuddle and then continue. Then my wife had sex with the husband while her friend laid there sleeping, passed out. Unprotected sex. They had sex a couple of times and the husband went and slept in the spare bedroom after. When everyone woke up and sobered up in the morning is when the regret kicked in. The wife had no idea that my wife had sex with her husband and had sex without her participation. My wife said that the couple had never done anything like this before and it wasn't planned. I called bullcrap on her friends. Why would they have coke and ecstasy if they didn't like to party? My wife has been friends with her friend for almost 30 years. We've been out hundreds of times. They have never given any indication of any of this. I could have handled some of this, but I can't handle it all. I left her there and stayed in a hotel for a couple of days. She called me hundreds of times and left texts. She started remorseful and blamed the drugs and drinking. She said that she feels powerless in life with needing a kidney transplant and having to do dialysis every day. I told her that I partly understood, but she betrayed me and threw away our life together. Her friend then started calling me, begging me to forgive my wife. She said that no of this was planned and that it just happened. She said that she and her husband regretted the whole night. I went and met my wife. I asked her to tell me all the details. She was crying and seemed remorseful and said she would do anything to make it up to me. I started pressing her on sex with the husband. The more I pressed, the more details she provided. The more I knew she really enjoyed it. She said her friend would be open to having a three-way with me and her to right the wrong. I don't think I could bring myself to follow through with it. I'm done with her, and I want to file for divorce. I will meet with a lawyer next week. I'm not sure where she would live after all this. She doesn't work and has end-stage kidney disease. We have a house that we have to sell. She would probably get some of the proceeds and maybe some alimony. We have a college-age child together. I feel gutted. If she was being coerced, the first thing she should have done was call you. She made her choices. Her friend and her husband can take care of her. And next, the second story, me, 52 male, just found out at least 4 of my 5 children are not mine. Wife, 51 female, won't say anything. First of all, I'm sorry if this ends up being long and rambly. I'm not really in the best state of mind. My world has been turned upside down over the last couple of weeks. I just want to write as much context as possible so I can get the best advice needed. For obvious reasons, I am not yet comfortable talking about this with my friends/parents/siblings. I met my wife when we were in high school and we married in college. We have 5 beautiful children together, really. 4 daughters, age 33, 30, 24, 14, and a son, age 28. I consider them a total blessing regardless of what I'm about to bring up. And up until a couple of weeks ago, I thought that we had the perfect marriage. We were typical high school sweethearts. We go out together, we never fight. I feel like I've done everything a loving husband should do. I'm saying this not to make myself out as the perfect husband. For example, my work has always meant I work long hours, and maybe haven't always been there when she needed me. But I want to stress that I've never felt our marriage was in any trouble, and never in a million years would I ever have suspected my wife of being disloyal. She's always done everything she could to support me and take care of our children. Now, my eldest daughter recently had an ancestry test done, and the results of the ancestry test strongly suggested I was not her father. She confided this to me privately, showing me the results, and I could tell she was visibly upset by this. Of course, the first thing I did was reassure her that no matter what, she's my daughter and I'll always love her unconditionally. But secondly, the two of us decided to get an official paternity test, since the ancestry tests are not completely reliable. It comes back, and I am indeed not her biological father. This news really broke me. I'm ashamed to say I broke down in tears in front of my daughter. The combination of finding out about my wife's infidelity and how upset I was making my daughter by how I was reacting. I really wish I had kept it in for her sake, but I didn't. Following this, I asked my other children, except my youngest, to come and see me. I wanted to know the extent of my wife's infidelity. If it was a one-off, I could maybe work past it, especially given how long ago it would be. However, I didn't want to tell my youngest, as she is still in school, a teenager, and really I didn't think it was appropriate to tell her yet. We tell the other 3 what has happened. I reassure them that I love them unconditionally and that I'll always be their dad, but that I need to know how long this has been going on. God, I can't begin to explain how touching their reaction was. They didn't care that I wasn't their biological father. They were just upset at how heartbroken I was. I feel like the only thing that has kept me going these last couple of weeks is their unwavering support. So we have paternity tests for each of the 3 done. Not only are none of them my biological children, together 4 of my children have 3 different fathers, which somehow made it worse. It's like she wasn't just having an ongoing affair. She was having multiple. I can't explain how this makes it worse, but it just does. So I confront my wife with this, expecting her to confess and beg for forgiveness. She doesn't confess. She doesn't even take it seriously. She says the tests must be flawed. All 4? How the hell am I supposed to take that seriously? I keep bringing it up and she keeps brushing it off, getting progressively more annoyed at me. When I bring it up, she will try and guilt trip me. We've been together since high school. Do you seriously not trust me? Etc. But how am I supposed to trust her in the face of such overwhelming evidence? Now that I have rambled and explained what has happened, I guess let me ask a few direct questions for advice. How can I reassure my children this doesn't change anything between us? I feel like the way I have reacted, total breakdowns, has made them second-guess this despite however many times I reassure them. How do I handle my youngest daughter? I feel like our marriage is beyond saving, and I will need to tell my daughter something. I don't want her to know the truth until she's older, but I also don't want my wife lying and making me out to be the villain. Is there any way at all you think I could or should save my marriage? I've been with my wife my entire life. It's almost impossible to see a life without her. I know that the answer should be a clear-cut, leave her, but we have 5 kids together. If there's anything that can be done to save our marriage, I want to consider it seriously. And now to the update. From the advice I've decided to, first, get second tests just in case some freak accident has occurred. Second, confront my wife with all 4 of my older children present. Third, tell my youngest of the situation. Ask her if she wants to have a paternity test. It will be entirely her decision. Fourth, I'm 100% going to get some form of therapy. My mental state has really been deteriorating over the last couple of weeks, and I owe it to my kids to hold it together. Fifth, depending on whether my wife tells the truth and what her explanation is, if any, I have not ruled out some form of counseling. But at the moment, I think divorce is inevitable unless she changes her attitude drastically. Sixth, contact a lawyer and prepare for divorce if it comes to that. Once again, I'd like to thank all of you for the time you took to express your support and share advice. Edit. I guess I should clarify some things that people have been asking. Which two children share the same father? My two eldest daughters share the same father. How did your wife conceive your children? Our eldest daughter was not planned. All the others were planned. Each time we conceived several months after we started trying. Our first three planned children were both our ideas, while she pressured me into having our youngest. She was in her late 30s and wanted one last child before it was too late. And eventually I agreed. She was conceived several months after we started trying too. Are you infertile? I don't know. I've never had a fertility test done, but the fact that none of our planned children are mine makes me think that I might be. I will have a fertility test as soon as possible. And the final update after a year. I have been debating whether or not to post an update because nothing was ever resolved. I decided I would post it here in case anyone is still waiting for one. I apologize for not updating early when I promised I would. My kids and I confronted their mother shortly after making that Reddit post. It really didn't go well. I think the prospect that no one believed her finally hit home, because she completely broke down and apologized profusely, but refused to explain herself or anything that would give myself peace of mind. For the next few weeks, we barely said a word to each other. I was hoping she was thinking it over, and I expected her to eventually sit me down and explain herself. I figured she was so far deep in a lie that got out of control, she needed time to think things over. Nope. I came home one evening to find she had offed herself by overdosing, so I lost the love of my life, and I'll never know what mistakes she had made. I really wish I could go back in time and forget about it all. Whatever mistakes she made, I honestly wanted to work through it, and now I'm just riddled with guilt that I pressed her for an answer. The worst part of this entire ordeal was watching my kids work so hard to keep me together after having lost their mother. Anyway, please tell your family you love them while you have the chance. OP has no reason to feel guilty. Her actions were entirely her own, from cheating to her life. In the end, she chose to be a coward rather than face her mistakes. And that's it for today. Dear viewers, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss out. See you next time. Bye-bye.